শুভ সন্ধ্যা। রাষ্ট্রবিজ্ঞান চর্চা কেন্দ্রের আজকের আলোচনায় সবাইকে স্বাগত। আজকের আলোচনার বিষয় মাস্টারিং ইংলিশ কমিউনিকেশন। আজকের আলোচনার মুখ্য আলোচক প্রফেসর সুমিতা রয়, ফরমার প্রফেসর, ডিপার্টমেন্ট অফ ইংলিশ, ওসমানিয়া ইউনিভার্সিটি। মহাশয়াকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ আমাদের রাষ্ট্রবিজ্ঞান চর্চা কেন্দ্রের আজকের এই আলোচনায় উপস্থিত থাকার জন্য। মহাশয়াকে অনুরোধ জানাবো আজকের এই বিশেষ বিষয়ে আলোচনাটি শুরু করার জন্য। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you, and my greetings to all of you who have come here this evening. As you have heard already, we are going to talk about mastering English communication. I'm sharing a PowerPoint with you. If you cannot see it, no problem. I will share the PowerPoint also with the organizers. They can share it with you. English has become very important today because we need it in our professional life. Most of us who love our own language may not know any other language, but we need to learn English. Just learning only a single language is not good enough. Therefore, if you want to progress in your career, if you want to get a job, you want to get a promotion, you want to make a name for yourself, you want to go outside your state or your city to work, then you need English. I see many youngsters from different parts of the country coming to Hyderabad, and they find language a real difficulty because they feel that their English is not good enough and they cannot make friends or talk to anybody in office. That is why this topic is important, and that is how to become good at communication. Being good does not mean that you have to be perfect to start with. We can start by making mistakes. There is no problem in that. But as we make mistakes, we go ahead and correct ourselves. I have been teaching English for the past 45 years, maybe. And from all my experience, these days I have a YouTube channel because for 15 years I did not start. People have been saying, I said, no, I don't want to start. But now it is there. So as I show you the slides, I have also given you a link for each, because for each of the slides, I might spend 3, 4, 5 minutes, but you have entire videos or entire podcasts and playlists which I'm uploading every day, where you can get details and how to practice. Remember that unless you practice, you cannot become better. The more you practice, the better you become. So now we talk about the first very important point, and that is how to master English. The next slide, I don't know. Okay, next slide, fine. Mastering requires, as I told you, consistent practice. Consistent means every day, all the time. Even if you practice for 1 minute, that is okay, but do it every day. Then self-motivation. After practicing for 10 days, you say, oh, my English is still very poor. Then I don't get benefited. Don't do that. How to learn a new language is by listening. Look at the small child, a newborn child, listens to the mother tongue for almost a year and only then starts speaking. We cannot, be, as soon as we are born, we don't start speaking. Even if it is our own language, we need to listen. So the more you listen to English, the better your English becomes. Then reading. I know many students, they read 500-page book in English, and then they come and tell me, we don't know English. How did you read those books if you don't know English? You know English, but you are not able to speak and write. You can understand, you can read, you can listen, but you're not able to speak or write. That is where communication is important, because these are called the productive skills. The others are the storage skills. Listening and reading helps you to build up your language, whereas speaking and writing is where you are using your language. Now we come to the next one, and that is what I mentioned. You have to be confident. How much ever you are speaking, please speak confidently. I remember I was recently in Kolkata and I was speaking in 2 or 3 different places. In one college, one young boy got up and said, "I don't understand English." Told me in Bangla, obviously. But at the end of the day, it was a full day workshop. That boy wrote the exercise very well and spoke also 5 or 6 sentences in English. What does it mean? It means that we don't have confidence. We know, but we don't have confidence. So, this is the background you have to do. Then, of course, writing regularly. Every day, if you make a habit of writing a little, that will be very useful. Suppose you are preparing for some competitive exam, you can write whatever you have learned. Write it in English. That will be useful. If you don't have any such thing, write about your daily habit or your daily activity. If there is something which has happened today which is unusual, then write about that. You say, "This is what happened, and this is what I felt about it. It is unusual." The language skills which you need to practice are, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, spelling, and punctuation. I have listed all of them, and you will find that these are the foundation skills. Foundation means it is under the ground. Now, when you start making the building, you can't see the foundation. You can only see the building. Your speaking English, your writing English is the building. The foundation is invisible. But without the foundation, you really cannot make a building. Therefore, it is important. The second point for us is that how to make our English effective. Now, if I speak to you and you cannot understand what I'm saying, then it is not effective. I might say I'm speaking very well, but nobody can understand me. That means it is not effective. We always speak for the others. We always write for the others. Communication is always for another person, another group of people. It is never for ourselves. If I feel happy speaking, then I should not call all of you and speak. I should speak to myself, isn't it? So, clarity, conciseness. Conciseness means brief, short, and empathy, feeling for the person you're speaking to or feeling for what you are suggesting. That emotional involvement, then openness and flexibility. Whenever you try to learn effective English, please have an open mind. When you speak or when you write, don't be prejudiced. Whenever I go to Kolkata, many people, especially our, sadhus and all, Matajis, they often say, because I'm very closely associated with Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, Sharada Mutt. They say, "Can you speak in Bangla? It's my mother tongue." But I cannot give you a lecture in that because I don't have the vocabulary. I told you. I know the language. I can speak. I can converse with you. In conversation, I have no problem. In giving a lecture, I have a problem. So you can imagine, I have to keep my mind open by saying, someday I will go to Kolkata and I'll speak in English. And flexibility, the ability to learn more. Many people I have seen in all over, not only in India, but outside India, when I speak also, they prefer only their own language. But today we live in a global culture. So we should not forget our language, but we should learn other languages also. So these are two introductory slides. Please remember that now we are going to take up the slides about mastering English communication. How will you master it? That is the four skills of communication: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. I told you there are 5 language skills and 4 communication skills. So 5 into 4, you have 20 possible exercises which you can do every day. If you do each exercise for 1 minute, that is 20 minutes. But you need not do everything like that. That is why I have given you in each slide something which you can see if you go to the channel. If you send an email, I will also give you the channel link personally. But please don't write many things because I have little time. I was asked, your organizer asked me to speak last month. I couldn't spare the whole of these many days, and I said ninth is suitable. I feel very happy to be with all of you because I can share what I learned with difficulty. My mother tongue is not English. I didn't learn English very easily. I learned it with great difficulty, and that I want to share with all of you. Let us now move on to the communication part. First is active listening. Without doing anything, if you just listen to English for a week or 10 days, you will start speaking at least a few sentences. Listen with full concentration. First point. Be involved in the subject. Whatever you're listening to, are you listening because you want to know? Or are you listening by saying, oh, this is useless, no use listening? Then you are not involved with the subject. Listen to anything. Since most of you are political scientists, listen to political science. Articles, documents, news items, podcasts, anything on political science, if that interests you. If you are a creative artist, listen to some stories and things like that, all in English. The more you listen, even if you listen to the sounds of English, you become better. I can tell you this from personal experience. I'm living in a city which has a different language from my own language. I speak and read and write that language as well. After my retirement, I started learning Sanskrit. Just hearing the sounds makes you understand and start speaking. That is how English is to be learned. Then, if you ask yourself or ask others some questions, you become a better listener. If you listen properly, you will ask many questions. I don't know if you want me to leave some time for asking questions, then I'll do that. Then you must test your understanding. Now I have spoken for 13 minutes. Have you understood everything I have said? Have you missed out something? Then, if it is on YouTube, you can replay again and again till you understand. Do it in a natural way, because if you do it in a way of reading from books, I can tell you that, after learning grammar books, hundreds of them, after learning dictionaries of varieties, you might not be able to speak or write English fluently. So that is what we require. Listening is very important. Then you have non-verbal tools for listening. While you listen, you look at the person who's speaking. You look at the facial expression. You look at the gestures. All this is very important. Then, of course, feedback at the end. I'm sure once you finish the session, you will say, okay, this was good, or this was not good. This was useful, or this was not useful for me. In this way, feedback. Give it in English. Think in English. Talk to yourself in English while giving feedback. And then evaluate yourself. When you have listened, you give yourself marks. Is my listening 100%? Is it 50%? Is it 20%? Don't be disappointed, because if you get 20%, you should be excited that you can improve 80%. If you get 100%, there is no excitement, because what will you learn? You already know. Therefore, knowing less and eagerness to learn, that is important. Now we move to the next skill, and that is speaking. Listening and speaking are oral skills. Reading also helps in speaking, but that is, somebody has to write, then only you can read. You go to Google, you get thousands of pages on anything. You can read them loudly, but that is also a help for speaking. Speaking becomes very good when you follow a person who is a role model. A child learns by imitation. I'm sure you know. That is called shadowing practice. The parent says something, the child repeats exactly the same thing. If somebody is selling something on the road, shouts and says, jhalmuri, jhalmuri, then what happens? The child repeats in exactly the same tone. What is the child doing? The child is shadowing. That is one way to speak better than speaking every day. When you want to speak, if you have nobody, if you are all alone, I have put an entire video about being alone and speaking. Then you speak to yourself. We are constantly speaking to ourselves throughout the day. That is called thought. Whenever we think, it is actually speaking to ourselves. So if you can't speak to others, speak to yourself. Carry out a conversation with yourself. Or if you have a group like this, where you can meet each other, practice, help each other. That way it is really good. If you speak a sentence with few words in your mother tongue and few words in English, there is no problem. That is a beginning. For beginners, this two language is very good. But when you become more advanced, when you go to a higher level, please remember that the second language, the language which you're good at, that is your mother tongue, that stops you from going to an advanced level. So beginners use two languages. Bilingual method it is called. But when you become an advanced learner, when your English is gone beyond the beginner's level, please use only English to English. Don't use your mother tongue. Then you will not get any benefit from it. Then we have short speeches. You can describe something. Suppose you are attending the session. At the end of the session, in 10 or 15 sentences, describe the session. Or you meet people, you describe the person. You come to a place, you visit a new place, describe that place. We do Google reviewing these days. So you go to the Google and you review it. You say, I went to this place, it's very beautiful. Thousands of people will see that, and they will also go to that place. So you are practicing your English, you're also helping others. Storytelling is wonderful. We have such wonderful stories from our past. Look at our ancient past, starting from the Upanishadic stories to the Panchatantra, to the stories of the Bhakti saints, to modern history stories, and to stories which are happening today all around us. These, if you practice in English, that will be a wonderful practice for speaking. Remember that people judge you by your ability to speak. Why would your Charcha Kendra call me to speak? I came long back, many years back. Again, they said I should come. I feel happy to come. I like speaking. But why should I do it? The reason is because we are all learning together. We are all practicing together. We are finding places in which we can improve. And that is what is most important. If we can do that, it would be great. Look at the video reference which I have given to the right hand side, which says tips to become a good speaker. There is also public speaking. You take a forum like this, online or face to face, physical format, meet 100 people or meet 50 people and talk to them in English. If you practice, even if you make mistakes, if you have friends in your audience, they will tell you that don't worry, you made some mistakes, but on the whole, it was nice. Remember that if somebody gives us a feedback which helps us to improve, that is much better than somebody saying, oh, you were excellent. There's no possibility of improving. But here, when somebody says this is where you made a mistake, you have a possibility of improving. So the more chances you get to speak, the better it is for you. Go on speaking whenever you get a chance. Even if you're sending a WhatsApp message, try to send it in English, because if you make mistakes, it doesn't really matter. The meaning is clear and your English is getting practiced. Because when you send a WhatsApp message, you're thinking, then you're framing the sentence. You can say it aloud if you want, and then you are writing it on the chat. Social media, electronics, technology, these are helping us to learn. Let us now move on to the next one. I told you LSRW, listening, speaking, reading, third skill. Third skill, reading, would mean not reading for meaning. Please remember that all of us can read English clearly for meaning, because we learned the alphabet when we joined school. So everybody can read, no problem. But that reading has not helped us to speak. I'm sure in everywhere in schools there is some compulsory English, 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, whatever. In college, when you come, maybe English. When you go to technical courses, maybe English. It is possible that mother tongue medium is also available, but English is there at some point. So you know some English, but please remember that some English which you have read is not helping you to speak or write. Our aim today is mastering English communication. It is not mastering English grammar. It is not mastering English reading or English understanding. It is communication. Communication, two things in communication are, as I told you, these are productive skills: speaking and writing. So, to help you to speak and write, you need to read and listen. Reading and listening help you to speak. So, when you are reading tomorrow's newspaper in English, hopefully, you can read both. First, if you have problems with English, read the news item in your mother tongue. Then read the same news item in English. You will understand easily. Then read that loudly. Loudly is, like you can hear me making a sound. What you are saying should be heard by your ears. The sound should go into your ear, because reading, listening, speaking, all these are happening together. I'm sorry, my throat is a little bad. So you are reading loudly, you are speaking it out, you are listening. You're practicing three skills. Then again, can you understand? Test your comprehension. Can you understand? That is important. If you cannot understand, read it 10 times, read it 20 times. Slowly, you will find that without reference to a dictionary, you are able to understand. That is how a new language is learned naturally. If you go to a place where everybody is speaking English, You don't need to learn from an English book. After staying there for a month, you will start speaking English. But that we don't have in our surroundings, we don't have such opportunity. Therefore, it becomes a problem. Now, when we are reading, they say that when we are reading this word, our eyes go to the seventh word. So, six words ahead, the eyes have gone. Don't read like that. That is not for improving communication. Read by looking at each word, each alphabet, each punctuation. If you read like that with total concentration on what you are speaking, only then your communication improves. Reading not only improves your English, but it improves all the five skills of language: grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, punctuation, and spelling. All can be improved by reading only, because you are reading each word, each mark with concentration. In listening, we don't get spelling and punctuation. We only get pauses, where to pause, where to speak, etc. But all these skills you can learn when you read a good passage. All the reference videos which I have given you are, as I told you, from my own channel, Sumita Roy's English Classroom. In every video, there is a description of about 10 sentences. There are 200 videos in the last 6 months. For 15 years, I never started the channel. After 15 years, with all the thousands and millions of people asking, I have started the channel. And it's become popular. In 6 months, there are, I think, about 65,000 subscribers. So everybody wants to learn English. I'm very happy. So if you want to read something, just read the description in those 200 videos. After watching, you read the description. That you read aloud, that you read 5 times. There you are getting practice. You see the construction of sentences. You see how the sentences are arranged in a logical order, how there are connections between sentences. All this we learn when we, look at our reading seriously. Spelling, punctuation, I already told you. Making notes, this is very important. Whenever I put a video, everybody says, give a PDF or give some, file which we can download. Please remember, that is not the way to learn. The best way to learn is to make the notes yourself. You can make a soft copy of the notes by keeping it in your supercomputer brain. No need for a hard copy. Keep a soft copy here. That way you become better. And then, of course, all these you can use when you are speaking. Listening and reading stores English in your files. I told you, brain is a supercomputer. So it has endless GB space and files are there. So store, while you're listening, store English. While you're reading, store English. From those files, the speaking and writing communication will come out. That is the benefit. Now let us move on to writing. I told you initially also, write regularly. When we were in school, we were told to write 1 page every day. That was our diary. They said, please write your diary every day. So if we got angry with somebody, we would write in our diary, today I'm very angry, this person behaved so badly and all. But in English, someday we are very excited. Oh, today I got my result. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Today my parents gave me a gift. In this way, practicing to write is wonderful, because writing is something which helps us to think and cure the brain. We say writing is therapeutic. Therapy means treatment. So if you have any problems, any stress or any tension, you will find that if you start writing, it will be over. Great creative writers. We have so many great novelists, great writers, great film script writers, etc., who are genius because they spend a little time writing. And their language is so beautiful that comes with writing. So, all the points which are to be followed when you are writing. First is to write, improve all the language skills by reading and listening. That I told you. The language skills are for you to improve. And then when you start writing, you practice them. Second is to write every day. Starting today, if you're really serious, if you feel that, yes, I need English and I want to improve English, then my presence here would be worthwhile. I want all of you to learn English so that you don't struggle, you don't suffer, as I see thousands and thousands of young boys and girls doing. Not only young, but elderly. When I joined the university, I was in my 20s only. Professors from science departments, chemistry, I remember a person who must have been 55 or 58. He came and said that you all know such good English. Can you teach some English so that I can teach chemistry better? Because I'm not able to explain very well. We had a principal in one of our colleges, Nizam College. It is a very ancient and famous college. There, the principal, political science professor, who used to call me in the morning, early morning, he would say, Madam, please come 1 hour before and teach me English. Recently, he showed me his notebook by saying, he's also retired, I'm also retired. He says, do you remember I used to write down notes? And he learned good English. He could speak and, he could make presentations at UGC, etc., because he learned English. So all of us need English. And if we practice all these 4 skills, thinking carefully, organizing ideas, all this is important for speaking also. Then making a rough draft is for writing. Just write points, 2 or 3 points, which you want to speak. Like I have, suppose I have today 6 or 7 slides. So I had to write those 6 or 7 points first. Then I could give some idea about each of those. Then only final PowerPoint is ready or final document is ready. Many of you who might be teachers or professors have to write research articles. I'm sure you make this process. So if you are writing in English, that is good practice. Then, of course, editing, proofreading, etc., all these are important. I have told you this right in the beginning that, thinking in English is very important. How many of us think in our mother tongue? That you have to remember. There are many humorous stories. A person who knows many languages, nobody knew what his mother tongue was. And then they said how to find the mother tongue. You push that person into a crisis, that person will immediately speak the mother tongue. Because our first thought comes in the mother tongue. But today, we are mastering English communication. So for mastering English communication, try to change your thinking into English. I remember our English teachers used to tell us that not only thinking, but the day you start dreaming in English, we usually dream in symbols, Sometimes we don't dream in a language. But if there is a language in your dream and that language is English, then of course it will be really wonderful because that shows that your mind, your conscious, subconscious mind is full of English. There is enough English now for you to feel confident. So the ability to think in English is very important. As I told you, at the beginner's level, if you translate, that is good. Suppose you want to say something now. I will leave some time for questions. You might not want to ask me the question in English. You might want to ask it in your own language. I know a few languages. If you ask in those languages, I can answer you. If it is Hindi, it is Bengali, it is Telugu, I can answer you. I can read the script and I can also understand. But suppose somebody asks me in Marathi, or suppose somebody asks me in, Assamese or Gujarati or Punjabi, I might not be able to understand and answer. So, what we have to do is we have to think, and without trying to translate, think in English. But if you are a beginner, you're not able to think, then it is possible for you to start by translating. But later, after a month or after a few months or after a year of practice, stop translating. Whatever thought comes in your mother tongue, immediately think of it only in English. Think for an hour or two only in English. It is like meditation. Don't allow the thoughts of your mother tongue to come. We say don't allow any thoughts to come. But now you're saying don't allow other languages, allow English. This is the way in which we avoid translating. That helps us master communication immensely. We become excellent when we learn to think in English. You try it and you will find it's very interesting to try, think. Please remember that if we learn even 10 languages, not only one language, English, but even if we learn 10 languages, we never forget our own language. We remember our mother tongue with maximum love, and we cannot forget it. I met somebody in the US who has been a doctor there for 40 years. As soon as he met us, all our group, he started speaking his mother tongue because for 40 years he rarely got a chance to speak that language. He spoke perfectly, no problem. But his English is as good as he speaks in his mother tongue. He only practices his mother tongue in his free time or in his time when he is, you know, able to speak to people who know that language. Otherwise, learning is important. Many people, I have encountered many people who say that by learning English, we are putting our languages into danger. India is a multilingual country, so many beautiful languages. But we are not putting anybody in danger. We are just ensuring that the practical benefit of learning English in a global society is important. We never forget our mother tongue. We love our own language. So don't be scared to think in English, because 24 hours you're thinking in your mother tongue. Keep 1 hour where you think only in English. So you still have 23 hours for your own language. Then checking the language of your thoughts. How often are you thinking in English and how often you are not thinking in English? Then, of course, how will you start thinking? First point for communication is that we have sufficient number of words. Two types of words are important in English or in any language. One is the names. What is this? What is that? Naming. You should know 500 words of various things and various professions, etc. Then you should know what they do, action words. So, naming words and doing words. These two types, nouns and verbs, if you learn, then you become much easier. It becomes much easier. So, are you able to do this? I can say, I speak English. So instead of saying I can put, the student speaks English. The teacher speaks English. So I'm using the students speak English. I'm using noun. Student speaks, verb. Students speak. Why am I changing? Because a singular noun is without S and a singular verb is with S. So if you add S to a verb, it becomes singular. This is the change which takes place. When we learn this small things in a simple way, we don't have to read big books of grammar, because reading grammar is a mechanical exercise. It is a very good discipline for the mind. We have great grammarians in India. But remember that grammar does not ensure that you can communicate in the language. You know the language, but you can't use the language. See, I'm using two verbs, know and use. Many people know the language, but many people cannot use the language even though they know the language. So, this is what you have to understand. Once you understand this, you become better. Then, the best thing is to speak spontaneously. Spontaneous means as you think, the words come out. We don't have a gap between the thought and the word. It is together. This spontaneity is what we require for mastering the language. That point, I cannot tell you, how much importance there is in that point. Because whenever we communicate, if there is a gap, somebody asks you a question, you are standing on the in the bus stop, and somebody comes and asks you, does this bus go to the railway station? Now you can only say yes or no, but you are practicing English, you want to say one full sentence, so you keep thinking, what sentence will I say? Then by the time you think of a sentence and you speak, that person has gone away, because he wants to know, the bus is leaving, does this bus go to the railway station? Answer should be immediate. Yes, this bus goes to the railway station. No, this bus doesn't go to the railway station. The bus number 10 goes to the railway station. See how you have to form the sentences spontaneously. That is what thinking helps you to do. Unless we practice all what I have told you one after another, you make a timetable for yourself, you motivate yourself, you set your own goals by saying, at present, my level of English is 50%. I want to reach a higher level. How will I do this? What kind of practice should I do? Listening is wonderful. I can come and talk to you whenever I'm invited. But that only improves my English. It doesn't improve your English, because you are giving me a chance to practice my speaking. You are not taking that chance to speak. Therefore, remembering that the more we practice, the better we become. There's a saying, practice makes you perfect. So we are looking for that perfection. Mastering means becoming excellent, becoming the best. Many people are losing their livelihood because of this language. You can imagine how difficult it is when they do not get their promotions. I get mails by the dozen, saying that we are outside India and we are struggling because everybody is speaking to us in English. We can't respond at all. Please understand that although I have taught for a very, very long time, I don't have any magic formula. The only thing which you can improve your communication is through hard work, personal hard work, not others doing hard work for you. It is not as though somebody cooks for you and feeds you, you feel healthy because you're eating good food. That is not possible. Nobody can do this for you. We can give you ideas, but implementation of the ideas is all yours. If you can do this, then your English becomes better, and slowly improvement comes. If you practice, I'm saying this every day, you look at any video, you will find I'm saying this all the time, that unless you practice every day, you don't benefit. Suppose you say that I will practice only on Sundays. Then by next Sunday, you forget what you have practiced. We have to build brick by brick. So if you do, even if you want to do only for 1 month, do all the 30 days. If you want to do for 1 month and you do every week, so 4 times in a month, then you say 30 weeks I do, that is not beneficial. Practice should be daily, even if it is for a short time. 5 minutes of your time, when you are traveling somewhere, when you are having your bath, when you are eating, you need not concentrate fully on the food. You just mechanically eat often. You're watching TV often while eating. Don't do that. Spend 5 concentrated minutes to practice English every day. If you can do this, then improvement is certain. As I told you, for your improvement, I have been working hard. Many people have, YouTube channels where they ask you for membership, they ask you for money, they ask you for things. My channel is completely free. There is nothing in it. But I cannot stop YouTube from giving advertisements. So advertisements you can skip. Or you can choose your premium YouTube where there are no advertisements. But nobody is going to ask you pay money. I'm not looking for money. I'm too old now to need any money. Therefore, if you are sincerely interested in mastering your communication, search for this YouTube channel, Sumita Roy's English Classroom. If you do that, if you watch each video, you might want to watch 5 or 10 times. Don't be in a hurry to learn everything at once. We have a saying, slow and steady wins the race. You remember the story of the hare and the tortoise. The hare runs very fast, the tortoise goes slowly. But finally, the tortoise wins the race. So go slowly, learn at your own pace. I wish you all the best. Please do well. Now we have some time, hopefully, for discussion. I would like the organizers to tell me in what manner the discussion can be done. Thank you. If we have anybody with questions, I can answer those. If you want me to give further examples, I can do that also. If you want to comment or give some suggestions, that also is welcome. Please do whatever you feel comfortable. StreamYard is, of course, going on to YouTube and Facebook. Therefore, I don't know how the participants can interact. The organizers can tell me how this is to be done. I didn't get any response from any of you. Therefore, I will speak for a little more time. Then we will conclude the session. Why I called it as mastering English communication is because many people stress on spoken English. Now, spoken English is not all what we require in communication. Suppose somebody is talking to you, you are carrying out a conversation. Somebody asks you, how are things today? Then it is not speaking that is alone is important. What is important is your ability to listen, to understand correctly what that person is saying, and then to reply. Because if you reply properly, only then the conversation, the communication is complete. You must remember that communication is 2 points. The speaker gives a message. We call it as encoding. The message is encoded. Then the listener decodes the message. The message comes, the listener understands. The listener understands according to the listener's capacity, not exactly the same. As teachers, we speak in a big class. If there are 40 students, there are 40 different levels of understanding. No two students understand in the same way. Therefore, you must remember that in case you are coding the message, it should be possible to decode to the listener. The listener decodes it and then sends another message. It is a complete circle. Listener on one side, speaker on one side, first communication from one side, and then communication from the other side. That full circle is what we call communication. So, listening and speaking have to go in this circular manner. Unless it goes in a circular manner, it is not complete. Therefore, we have to be very careful whenever we are talking in terms of communication. Just learning English or learning a few words is not helpful. For instance, many people do that. Just before appearing for GRE or GMAT or such exams, I find people come and say, can you teach me within a few days? They learn hundreds of words, toughest of words in English. They do the exam very well. But once they reach that country, they are not able to communicate in English. Their scores on paper are excellent, but their real life performance is not excellent because they memorized. Memorizing is not speaking. Speaking has to be done creatively, and that is why communication is so important. That is where the difference between AI and human brain. AI is artificial intelligence. You can get everything from artificial intelligence today, except this creative thought. So, where the human beings can creatively think, the artificial intelligence can only mechanically think. Maybe in future they will be very creative. That is possible. There is a story by a famous science fiction writer, American writer, Isaac Asimov, and that is Bicentennial Man. Bicentennial means 200 years. So a person who's 200 years. And that is actually a machine. But that, the family treats it so well. They call him Andrew, and the family is Martin. So he becomes Andrew Martin. And he says, I want to become a human being. I want emotions. I want a heart. I want creativity. I don't want to be a robo anymore. So Asimov wrote this many, many, many decades ago. That may come true in real life because many of the things which were predicted in science have come true. Aldous Huxley spoke about test tube babies when it wasn't there, but now it is there. Jules Verne spoke about submarine when submarines were not there, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Beautiful classics which teach you excellent English. So, the more exposure you get to the language, the better the language becomes. If you keep doing this, then you become a master without effort. Thank you once again. I'm sorry my cough is really bad. I don't know if the session ends with this. Let me try to find out.
Thank you,
I have
ma'am.
finished my share. So if there are any questions, please
কিছু
ask.
প্রশ্ন
হ্যাঁ,
একজন প্রশ্ন করেছে, হাউ ক্যান আই ইমপ্রুভ মাই ইংলিশ কমিউনিকেশন স্কিল?
okay. That is what I said throughout the video. If this video is available, please watch it again and again. Then you will get benefited. Also, I gave you the channel address where every video is how to improve your communication skill. Watch the videos and practice exactly as I told you. In this video, I have told you many ways in which you have to practice. So if you practice in those ways, then your communication improves. So please watch the videos many times and practice one by one, step by step. Remember that practice makes you perfect.
Thank
Okay,
you, ma'am.
next question. Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. How to speak confidently in English language?
Okay. Start with a lot of mistakes. When people make fun of you or people say your English is terrible, don't feel disappointed. Motivate yourself every day by saying, I will learn good English. I will become better in English. Every morning you get up and say this to yourself and go on practicing with lot of mistakes. It takes a little time, but don't feel bad. I always tell my students that if one person laughs at you, you learn 1% English. If 100 people laugh at you, you learn 100% English. So allow people to laugh at you. Allow people to say your English is terrible. Don't worry. Allow people to say, stop speaking English. Don't listen to them. Don't stop. Don't feel disheartened. Continue to practice. The more you practice, the more you speak to other people, the better your confidence becomes. Have faith in yourself. That is what Swami Vivekananda said. That real person, should have self confidence. Before having faith in God or before having faith in anything else, have faith in yourself. That self confidence, if you have, you will improve with practice. But please remember, just self confidence is not enough. Practice good English and keep feeling that you are going to become the best. When you tell yourself you will become the best, you will become confident. Okay, I think time is now almost over. If any other questions are there.
হ্যাঁ, একটি শেষ প্রশ্ন।
Okay.
সেটা হচ্ছে যে ম্যাম, যারা বাংলা মাধ্যমের স্টুডেন্ট, তাদের ম্যাম এই ইংলিশ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজটা মানে একটা অনেক বড় জটিল জায়গায় পৌঁছে যায় আর কি। যখন কোনো রিসার্চ স্কলার পিএইচডি করতে যায় বা কমিউনিকেশন করতে যায়, তখন তাদের প্রবলেম হয়। তো সেক্ষেত্রে তারা কিভাবে এটাকে ইমপ্রুভ করবে?
Good question. I will repeat in English that people who are in Bengali medium, not only Bengali, but any other local language medium, it happens here also. People who are of Urdu or Telugu medium have the same problem. When they come to the level of PhD, they find it difficult to write their thesis, to defend their thesis in the Viva exam, all these problems happen. What you have to do is you have to think of English as separate from your research. First, you have to build up your English. Start from the beginning. There are beginners levels of practice which you have to do. So if you have 3 years for your research, you must devote at least in those 3 years 1 or 2 hours per day for English. Because you have not devoted any time to English, you have studied in some other medium, and since it is the local language, you have used that language alone, you are struggling. But if you have to submit your thesis by writing in English, which I think you might have to, then you need to learn good English first. Just doing research is not enough. You get part of your research sensibility into English by saying that I will first evaluate my English. How much English do I know? I know zero English. I told you, no? One boy said in Bangla that, Madam, if you speak English also, I cannot understand. By the end of 5 hours, that boy could speak English. I did not speak for that boy. I did not write for that boy. How did this person speak? In another college, the girl, I said, if you feel nervous, come and speak in front. Since all of you are Bangla medium, you have to, come and speak and show me that you can speak English. If you feel nervous, you tell me, I will come and hold your hand. Now, online, I cannot hold any of your hand. But please think when you're practicing that I'm with you, I'm holding your hand. That is why every morning at 7 o'clock, I post a video on the channel, because I want you to feel that I'm with you. Watch the beginners' videos. Watch one video 10 times. Practice it for the rest of the day. Watch next video 10 times. Practice it for day 2. Like that, you watch only beginners level for a month. After that, close everything and test yourself. Can I speak? Can I write? That you speak for some time. You gather 2 of your friends and give them a lecture. You write down one, document and WhatsApp it to all your friends. You will get benefited by this because you have never spent time with English. You have never thought in English. You have never spoken or written. Written exams you have written, but you have not written about yourself. You have not written a story or poetry in English. So you have not written the English which is in your mind on paper. You've only learned your subject and you have written. Thesis also, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do a lot of research and write down that. It is not, the English language is not important there. It is your subject which is important. For some time, keep the subject apart and learn English as a language, as the medium. Only then improvement comes. Please understand that all of us had to struggle like this. All of us had to go. I have given many motivational stories in the channel which I mentioned, where you have a person saying, how I learned English in a week, how I learned English from a struggle to success. Those, of course, videos I did not show you. Once you subscribe, you can see the entire list. And then you have podcasts also where you can go. But please remember, before you start writing your thesis, please learn good English. If you write it in bad English, your excellent arguments will go waste. Your English also has to be good. So learn English, spend some time in learning English. I told you, there are many boys and girls from your state who have come here to work. And I see tears in their eyes because they are not able to use the language. They are excellent in their job, They are excellent in their subject, but English zero. So they are every day they are in tears. Let this not happen to you. Wake up now and learn good English. Spend some time and a lot of hard work, then you will get better English. Then, when you sit down to write your thesis, you will find that English is coming to you naturally and easily. People who do in their local medium have a great advantage. My own English teacher at the MA level, under whom I did my MPhil and PhD, who was a gold medalist from Banaras Hindu University, was a Telugu medium student for entire life till he came to graduation. That was my teacher. Telugu medium till graduation, post graduation BHU, gold medalist in English. Can you imagine how much hard work can be done? Such stories should motivate you. You say, "Oh, I cannot learn." That is not correct. All of us can learn anything we want. There are people on the channel who are 70, 80 years old. They are also learning English. So you can also learn. It is not, it's just 6 months since I started the channel. There are so many comments saying we are improving, we are improving. But who's saying it? Only those who are practicing, like I tell you, because I have no magic to give you. So if you're a student who has studied in Bengali medium or Telugu medium or Hindi or Urdu or any Indian language, please think you are a better person to learn English because you already know one language excellently. You can learn another language with the help of your own language till you become independent learner of English. It is not difficult. Okay, that is enough.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night and all the best to all your participants. I hope all of you, and next time you communicate with me, do it in English so that you will be the role model for all your participants. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
You sent me a
Okay.
WhatsApp message just now about all the responses you get. Okay? In
Okay,
English.
ma'am. Thank
Okay?
you, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. Good night. Good
Good,
night.
good night.